What is the difference between tafsir and tadabbur? In simple terms, tafsir is clarification of meaning. By definition, tafsir is the act of explaining the meaning of the words of the Quran, whether in vocabulary, grammar, or even context, so that the intended message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unveiled. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, وَلَا يَأْتُونَكَ بِمَثَلِ إِلَّا جِئْنَكَ بِالْحَقِّ وَأَحْسَنُ الْتَفْسِيرَ. That is Surah Al-Furqan, Ayah 33. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlights the revelation coming with tafsir, the best clarification. What's the purpose of tafsir? The purpose of tafsir is what called certainty of meaning, yani al-yaqeen fil ma'ana. Without tafsir, the Quran could be misunderstood, misapplied, or manipulated. Tafsir ensures the mind comprehends accurately before the heart reflects deeply. So when you look at this, tafsir is the intellectual clarity. Its purpose is to remove ambiguity and establish the correct meaning. When we look at tadabbur, tadabbur simply is all about reflection beyond meaning. What's the definition? By definition, tadabbur is to look deeply into the consequences and wisdom behind the words. It is about discovering the lexical meaning, but pondering, yani thinking deeply, the implications, lessons, and applications in life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ أَمْ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبٍ أَقْفَالُهَا. Surah Muhammad, Ayah 24. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala links lack of tadabbur not to ignorance of meaning, but what we call a locked heart. This shows that tadabbur is a spiritual act beyond linguistic explanation. So the purpose of tadabbur is transformation of the self, yani taghyir al-nafsi. So tafsir informs the mind, but tadabbur reforms the heart and behavior. It pushes the believer to see how the Quran applies in his or her life and what end each command or prohibition leads to. So when you look at this, tadabbur is spiritual reflection and what you call application. Its purpose is to unlock the heart, derive wisdom, and what you call transform action. What's the relationship between tafsir and tadabbur? Tafsir precedes tadabbur. One cannot reflect properly if one does not know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying. Tadabbur deepens tafsir. Once the meaning is clear, the believer ponders the divine wisdom behind it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here shows that together they fulfill the purpose of what called revelation. Tafsir guards the intellect. Tadabbur nourishes the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes this in the Quran. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. He says, Kitabun anzalnahu ilayka mubarakun liyatadabbaru ayatihi liyatadhakkaru ulul albab. This is in Surah Swad, Ayah 29. Notice here that the Quran is blessed, not merely for reading or knowing its tafsir, but for tadabbur of its ayah, so that people of intellect, and the ulul albab, may remember. So what's the purpose here is that understanding these concepts is vital for us as Muslims when it comes to understanding the Quran. Tafsir is all about clarification of words of meaning, yes, whereas tadabbur simply is about deep reflection on wisdom and consequences. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.